Hi, in this video we're going to start trying to capture contact information for what we call end users. This is different from what you've been doing so far in that rather than getting the information for other companies that buy and resell equipment, we're actually going to be getting the information for companies that use the equipment. We're much more sensitive about using their information in that we only contact them every once in a while. And so we also want to be careful in how we capture their information. There are a number of ways of doing this. We're going to start out by doing thebluebook.com, which I'll open here in a second. You're going to put the information in the same spreadsheet that you've been putting information in, but the lead source will be U.S. end user, unless we're in a different country, which in case it would be Canada end user or Latin America end user or India end user. So a lot of different options, but for the most part, we're going to be dealing with U.S. end users, especially from the Blue Book. So the first step would be, let's open up a window and go to thebluebook.com. So when you open this, you'll notice right in the middle of the screen, it gives you a place to choose regions, and these are states, or if they're big states with a lot of contractors, they're subcategories of states. And notice they're all in the United States. So we'll just start at the beginning with Alabama. And then for keyword or company names, we're going to search for keywords: excavating, road construction, bridge construction, and marine construction. Now there will be some overlap, and you're going to have to be aware of that and look for it as you're putting in this information. But notice we search excavating. This is in Alabama. It gives us 116 companies. Now, you will notice as you work through these companies, as you get into some of the later pages, that the companies are no longer in Alabama. And that's fine. You can go ahead and capture their information now. But again, just be sensitive to the fact that there could be considerable overlap. For example, a big contractor may be advertising all over the country, so they may be in the later pages of the search again and again and again, but you'll begin to recognize that fairly quickly. All right, so the first step after you've chosen or search for excavating for Alabama is we're going to click on the first company, and if you just hover over this, it actually will open up this window, or you can click on it, either one. And then the next step is we're going to go to locations, contact us. On this page there is some key information, but this is also where the website will usually be located. In this case, it is not there. So after you go to locations contact, the next step will be to open a separate window and to locate the website for this company. Since this one doesn't show up as a website, we're going to just go and search for ANS Incorporated, Alabama. A lot of times these companies are quite small, And if they're really small, they may not have a website. So uh, if they do not have a website, we don't want to try and capture their information at this time. That may or may not be the best strategy, but for now, we feel like the website is sort of the threshold of size. So, ANS does not have a website, so we're just going to close out of this window and we're going to go to the next one, which is A1 Backhoe. So, again, we'll go to location contact. We're given good contact information, but let's see if we can find a website. Notice that when I'm putting in a search, I'm putting a location. So I put the company name and the state, just because these may be several different names. Also notice that it does show up like in things like Google Plus and Yellow Pages. These are all sort of substitutes for websites that aren't built by the company themselves. This looks promising. It's in the same place, in the same city. So, but see, it's a similar thing. It's not built by A1 Backhoe. It's all the Alabama is capturing information here. So again, not especially useful. So I'm going to say this one also does not have a website. So we're going to close it. Go to the next one. Alright, so here's an example where they actually give us the website. So again, before we start entering any contact information, we're going to visit the website. So thus far we haven't even found a website, but here we have. So let's open that in a new tab and let's go look at it. And the reason that I like to look at it is because you're going to find a lot of companies that don't really use heavy equipment. And we'll see several examples of those as we move forward. So you're going to have to visually look at each website, make sure they use heavy equipment, then we'll capture their contact information. The easiest way to tell that is because most people who use heavy equipment inevitably put pictures of heavy equipment on their website. Again, that may not always be true, but generally it seems to be the case. So clearly they've put heavy equipment on their website, so we feel safe capturing their information. You can go back to Blue Book. In the spreadsheet that you've been using so far, you're going to enter the company name, you're going to enter their address information, you're going to enter the contact name and the phone number. Now, notice Blue Book does not provide an email address, so we would go back to the website, see if an email address is provided. That might be provided excuse me, in the contact information. It might be provided in the About Us information. I would say at least 50% of the time or more, it is not going to be provided. So, when it is not provided, I still want you to capture all the contact information, but that will be a separate spreadsheet from the ones that you do get email addresses for. So you'll have two spreadsheets. One will be contact information without a spreadsheet. Contact information without an email, and one will be contact information with an email. So Able Hauling and Excavating will be in a spreadsheet without an email address because they don't provide us with one. But still capture all this other contact information. And what we'll do, we'll actually go through and manually call these individually, just so you kind of know what we're doing, and try to see if they're a good contact and would be good for emailing in the future. But all right, so once you've captured Abel Hollings information, we'll go to the next one. Alabama Dirt Works and Construction. Go to the location, contact us. Again, no website information, so we'll go over here and search. Notice the location's already in the name, so I didn't put Alabama again. And it looks like they do have a website, and that'll happen fairly frequently where they've not provided a URL within the Blue Book. Again, we're manually inspecting it, looking for pictures of equipment, and the very first thing we get is pictures of equipment. So now we can definitely go back and capture their contact information. We know we're going to be looking for an email address to decide which spreadsheet they will go on to. I see phone numbers. Look real quick and see. A lot of times these people will not provide email addresses, for the simple fact that they don't want people like us contacting them endlessly via email. So instead they put this contact us page. So again, no email address, which is fine. Just put their information in the spreadsheet with no email. Let's see if we can find one with an email address. We'll go to the next one, all site development, location. Again, here's all the relevant contact information, less a website or email address. So we'll try searching for them. I don't see a website. So, in fact, it's allowed. So we'll close that one. So that one will not get entered. Do not put their information because they don't have a website. Amsher LLC, general contractor. Right, so they've given contact information, they've given a website. Let's open that up. First picture is of a haul truck, so that's close enough to being equipment, so we'll move forward. And here they have given an email address, which is always nice. So this will be a separate spreadsheet, the one that does have email addresses, and you're going to do the same thing that you always do, which is give the address, phone number, email address. You can sort of check the phone number against this one. Notice you'll almost always have a contact name, which is good, so you can put their contact name there. So there's an example of one that does have an email address. So you can see, you can kind of work through these. A lot of these companies are very small, and they may be too small. I do have a few other examples, so let's skip to one of our other search key terms, marine construction. So marine construction pulls up some different types of contacts, as you might expect. Here, let's just go to the first one. Again, you go to the name, then you go to location, contact, and here they have a website, and we want to open the link and look at their website. Now, I've looked at this one already, but I wanted to open this one on purpose because notice here there is no heavy equipment. and you've got to be able to read through the description, look at the pictures, get a sense of what they do. And I know that can be challenging given the cultural differences. But here, I mean, yes, there's a picture of a boat, and yes, there's a picture of a wheelbarrow with a little bit of stone in it. But this company clearly sells stone and docks and things like that. They don't use heavy construction equipment. So we do not want to capture their information. We're not interested in anything that this company has to offer. Based on their name, I'm guessing this one's probably going to be the same. Um, and we can go to the location and look. Do notice, see, we're still in Alabama, but we're suddenly getting these advertisers putting information all the way from Washington. That's fine. Well, you just enter the state as Washington. It's no big deal. But I think we'll see that these people, we don't really want their information. So, right. So they sell lift systems. We're not interested in that. No heavy equipment. No pictures of heavy equipment. Um, Nothing like that. So we don't want anything to do with this company. Notice this one's in Oklahoma. So again, they're sort of all over the place sometimes. So this company apparently builds marinas, um, which sometimes can involve heavy equipment. So let's just look at a few of the pictures. Looks like they're mostly just showing us pictures of their marinas. So I would say we do not want their information. Go to this next one. This is the first one that's actually in Alabama. It's got a website. All right, good. Again, here's an example, right? Piece of heavy equipment sitting right there. That's all the evidence you need to know this company uses heavy construction equipment. And this might be a good example, I'm not sure, but this is obviously a very large, or seems to be a fairly large company. So let's see if they provide an email address. Here's all their locations and their phone numbers. Um, let's just go to the contact page and see. So no, they're just giving offices and location. Anytime there's more than one location, it doesn't really matter. Just pick the one that you think appears to be the central one and put that in. So um, a lot of times, yeah. So here, so I've gone to the About Us, or it's called Our Company, and then they give Our Team. A lot of times, this is where they'll give different people's email addresses, but here it doesn't look like they're giving email addresses or contact information. They're just giving names and descriptions of people. This will be important, especially if they provided an email address, in terms of finding the right person to contact. So, for example, if they provided an email address for every person on this list, we would not want every email address. We would just want one email address. And a lot of times with companies this big, if you read through, you'll find that there's one person responsible for managing the equipment. And that person manages buying equipment, he manages selling equipment, and he keeps the equipment maintained or works with a team of people to keep the equipment maintained. That's whose information we want to try to get. But in this case, they don't provide any email addresses anyway, so it's just going to be you putting their information on the spreadsheet without the email address, and we'll give them a call. Let's do one or two more. So Cassidy Brothers Construction Incorporated. Um, they are called general contractors. Notice there's no heavy equipment in this picture. This is important. I know it seems strange, but people that use heavy equipment put heavy equipment in their pictures, in their website. They just do. Okay, so we go a little deeper into their gallery, and there you are. They're using heavy equipment. So heavy equipment looks like is a small part of their business, but it's certainly part of it. So we'll capture their information. They actually provide us with an email address, so we can put that in. So good. All right, now let's do one of the other search terms just to kind of see what we get. We'll do road construction. First company, location. All right, so they've given us a website. A lot of time these road construction companies will be quite large, so I was hoping to find an example of going through the different contacts and making sure we get the right ones. So contact us, they've given us an address, contact form, sort of expected. Organization, they've gone through and they've given us a management team. And these seem to be links, so let's see what happens when we click on one of the links. Tells us about Tom. Doesn't give us an email address for Tom, though, and that's what we were kind of looking for. Let's see if they would give us that. So it doesn't look like the email address information is available, which is fine. So we'll put them again in the contact us information. So I suppose the last thing I would emphasize is, unlike what you've been doing with the equipment, make sure you put just one contact name and email address for any of these companies. We do not want multiple names and contact information for them, and we'd like to find the most relevant person, the person who is responsible for the equipment. That's sometimes called the equipment manager or the fleet manager. If that's not obvious or spelled out, then there's sometimes the person that's in charge of operations. All right, I think that's enough to get started, and you can let me know what questions you have.